Welcome to the deep dive. We've been going through this massive stack of data for today's discussion.
Well, there's so much to get through.
Yeah, it's a lot. We have Roku's new 2026 industry predictions. We've got the upcoming streaming slates for platforms like Netflix and Disney Plus.
And those TikTok trend reports.
Right, the wildly detailed TikTok trend reports. And honestly, trying to map out how we consume media right now is just dizzying. The ground is completely shifting under our feet.
It really is. I mean, if you look at the sheer volume of content being produced right now, it's unprecedented in human history.
Yeah.
We aren't just looking at a change in what's on television. We're looking at a fundamental rewiring of how humans tell stories to one another.
And that is exactly what we're going to get into today. If you are joining us, you're probably trying to make sense of this chaotic landscape.
Because it is chaotic.
It is. You want the insights, you want to understand the mechanics behind the screen, and you absolutely despise that feeling of being overwhelmed by the sheer avalanche of information out there.
Nobody wants to feel behind the curves.
Exactly. You want to walk away from this feeling like the most well-informed person in the room. So our mission today is to sift through all of these reports and extract the vital nuggets.
We want to understand not just what people are watching in 2026, but the underlying psychology of why they are watching it.
Because the why is where the real story is.
Oh, absolutely. As I was reviewing these sources, a very clear, overarching theme started to emerge.
Okay.
Everything happening in entertainment right now boils down to a massive tension between two opposing forces.
Two forces.
Yeah. On one side, you have this deep, almost desperate human craving for hyper-authentic, messy, unpolished connection. People want to see real human beings experiencing real emotions.
Right, like the complete rejection of that overly polished Hollywood aesthetic.
Precisely. But on the other side, pulling in the exact opposite direction
Is the tech.
You have the rapid integration of artificial intelligence and algorithmic curation in our media diets.
Yep.
We are using the most advanced artificial and calculated technologies ever created to try and artificially manufacture that raw human authenticity.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because there is an overwhelming amount of content available to us today. And to really grasp that paradox, we have to start by looking at the physical devices we use to access it.
The delivery mechanisms.
Exactly, the delivery mechanisms. We cannot talk about 2026 entertainment without talking about the total, absolute mobile takeover. The data here is wild.
The numbers are frankly staggering. If we look back at the baseline data cited from 2023.
Which feels like ancient history now.
Right, but even then, video apps were already accounting for 73% of all global mobile data usage. That was the floor.
That was the baseline, and when you look globally today, it gets even more extreme. In places like India, over 81% of internet traffic comes from mobile devices.
Yeah.
And in China, the statistics are almost hard to wrap your head around.
Let's hear it.
99.9% of all internet users are accessing the web via smartphones.
Think about the implications of that figure for a second. That 99.9%.
It's basically everyone.
It means the desktop computer, as a concept for entertainment, is virtually extinct for over 1 billion people.
It changes everything. It changes how you frame a shot, how you pace a script, how you design graphics.
Yes.
When your entire audience is holding the screen in the palm of their hand, usually vertically, the old rules of cinematic storytelling just don't apply.
No, they don't.
And the apps that are capitalizing on this are fascinating. Take Real Short, for example.
Real Short is a perfect case study in adapting to the medium.
Exactly. They have completely leaned into the fact that our attention spans are shrinking. They deliver these incredibly short, vertical, highly serialized storytelling bursts.
It's very fast-paced.
Very fast. Every single episode ends on a massive cliffhanger, and the monetization model is brilliant. Instead of monthly subscription, you unlock premium episodes with virtual currency.
Which fundamentally changes the psychological relationship between the viewer and the content.
How so?
Well, it feels much more like a mobile game than a traditional television show. You are macro-transacting your way through a narrative.
But does that actually satisfy the viewer? Or is it just a slot machine for your eyeballs?
It's a bit of both,
Yeah.
honestly, but you can't deny its effectiveness.
Right.
The shift from passive, scheduled television viewing, where you sat down on the couch at 8 p.m. to watch a half-hour sitcom, to this on-the-go consumption is massive.
It's a totally different mindset.
Real Short understands that for younger demographics, a 3-minute serialized video with a massive plot twist fits perfectly into their transit time.
Right, it fits into the 3 minutes they spend waiting for a coffee.
Exactly, the micro moment.
It's a micro moment.
It's about catering to those shrinking attention spans while simultaneously demanding a very high quality of narrative hook. You have to capture them in the first 3 seconds or they swipe away.
And it isn't just short-form video that is adapting to the phone. Tencent Video, or WeTV internationally, is dominating right now.
They're a massive player.
They are the 4th largest streaming service globally for paid subscribers. They have massive Asian content libraries, but what sets them apart is the tech they are packing into the mobile experience.
Right.
They are pushing early adoption of virtual reality directly into mobile streaming.
They're also pushing visual boundaries. They utilize technologies like HDR Vivid.
Now, for those who aren't tech nerds, what does that actually mean for you as the viewer sitting on the subway?
HDR Vivid essentially optimizes the brightness, color, and contrast frame by frame.
Okay.
It makes the imagery pop off your mobile screen with a dynamic range that used to be reserved for high-end home theater setups.
Wow.
They're saying, look, just because you were watching on a 6-inch screen doesn't mean you should compromise on visual fidelity.
But the feature that blows my mind the most on Tencent Video is the interactive element. They have these things called bullet screens. Have you seen this in action?
I have, and it is a complete sensory overload.
It really is. Basically, it allows viewers to post real-time comments that literally shoot across the video player while the content is playing.
Just flying across the screen.
Right. You are watching a dramatic scene and suddenly hundreds of text bubbles from other viewers fly across the actors' faces. It turns a solitary viewing experience into this massive, chaotic, communal event right there on your phone.
The psychological driver behind this is fascinating. The bullet screen phenomenon is the perfect merging of social media behaviors with traditional entertainment.
How do you mean?
Watching a show is no longer just passively taking in information. You want your reaction to be seen, and you want to see how the crowd is reacting at that exact same millisecond.
It's like being in a packed movie theater where everyone is shouting at the screen but digitized.
Exactly. It taps directly into that craving for connection we mentioned earlier. Even if it's just text flying across the screen, it provides a sense of community.
But then amidst all this hyper-fast, gamified, chaotic content, you have a platform doing the exact opposite.
You're talking about MUBI.
Yes, MUBI. I find their strategy so interesting because they're actively pushing back against the algorithms.
They're essentially staging a quiet rebellion against machine learning.
Yes. Instead of an algorithm feeding you what it thinks you want, MUBI relies entirely on human curation.
Human experts.
Real people film experts are handpicking a rotating selection of independent, international, and classic films.
And they've built deep community features like discussion threads directly into the app.
Right. It's a hybrid between a streaming service and a social network for serious cinephiles.
And they take it a step further into the physical world with MUBI to Go.
I love this feature. MUBI to Go gives subscribers a free cinema ticket every single week to go watch a curated film on an actual big screen in a real theater.
Which is brilliant.
They're using a mobile app to revive the physical ritual of going to the movies.
Take a step back and look at what this means for the industry.
Right.
It is a brilliant counter-programming strategy. When every other app is using data to force-feed you the next viral hit based on how fast you scroll, MUBI is betting that there is a premium market for intentionality.
Yes, intentionality.
They're acknowledging that people are overwhelmed by the algorithm, and they are offering a human guide out of the noise.
It proves that the desire for deeply curated, meaningful art hasn't disappeared just because the delivery mechanism is a smartphone.
Right.
And the smartphones themselves aren't just for consuming anymore, they are production studios. The tools available to creators right now are mind-blowing.
The obliteration of the barrier to entry for content creation is one of the most significant shifts of the decade.
Look at Dolby On. It's an app developed by Makito, and it essentially gives creators studio-grade audio production tools in their pocket.
Just right on their phone.
Yeah, it uses advanced noise reduction, spatial audio, and automatic sound enhancement. You literally just tap record in your bedroom, and the app analyzes the audio, applies compression and EQ, and makes it sound like you're in a professional recording booth.
And then you have Topline, backed by Abbey Road Studios, allowing musicians to instantly capture and layer high-quality song ideas anywhere they are.
Right. So when anyone with a phone can produce studio-quality sound and video, the volume of content just explodes.
Which sets the stage perfectly for the massive dilemma we are facing in the living room.
The paradox of choice.
Yes. When the volume of content reaches a fever pitch, the competition for your attention becomes fierce, and the user experience starts to break down.
And that brings us directly to the Roku 2026 predictions. We've talked about mobile, but let's talk about the biggest screen in the house.
Connected TV. Or CTV.
Exactly. Roku's report directly addresses this critical friction point, the what to watch problem.
It's a very real phenomenon.
The data shows that viewers were recently spending an average of 20 minutes just scrolling, searching, and arguing with their partner about what to watch.
Which is absurd.
20 minutes of just navigating menus.
If a platform requires you to spend 20 minutes looking for a 30-minute sitcom, the platform has failed you.
Exactly. So Roku predicts that by 2026, AI personalization is going to drastically shrink that search time.
Right.
The AI is going to act entirely invisibly in the background to match you with content the moment you turn on the screen.
And we know this works. The report notes that Netflix's recommendation engine currently drives a staggering 80% of its total viewing hours.
80%.
This is where we have to ask a slightly uncomfortable question.
Oh, here we go.
Well, if 80% of what you watch is suggested to you by an algorithm, how much of your taste is actually your own?
That's a good point.
Your media diet is being heavily curated by a machine whose primary goal is retention, not necessarily artistic enrichment.
I see the logic there, but from a purely practical standpoint, isn't it necessary?
You mean just to function?
Yeah. If I have 10,000 titles to choose from, I need a concierge. I don't want to dig through the crates every night.
It is absolutely necessary from a user experience standpoint. The invisible AI concierge is the only way these platforms can keep users from getting frustrated and turning the TV off.
Right. Yeah. But it does mean we are ceding a significant amount of cultural discovery over to code.
And speaking of shifting user experiences, Roku's next prediction is a massive paradigm shift. They are officially declaring the extinction of the ad-free viewer.
Now, this is the prediction that I think will surprise people the most, given the history of streaming.
It's a complete reversal.
Yeah.
Currently, an unbelievable 96% of Roku households see video ads somewhere in their user journey.
96%.
Ad-supported streaming is the new normal. We really saw the dam break when Prime Video shifted its model, essentially turning 130 million U.S. customers into ad-supported viewers overnight.
Unless they specifically opted out and paid a premium.
Exactly. And you couple that with the explosion of fast channels.
Right. Fast channels free, ad-supported streaming TV.
Things like the Roku channel and Tubi. Roku predicts that fast channels alone will reach a 10% share of total TV viewing in 2026. Let's pause on that for a second because the history here is important. For years, the entire marketing promise of the streaming revolution, the reason people cut the cord on their cable boxes was to escape commercial breaks.
Right. Nobody wanted commercials.
Netflix trained an entire generation to expect uninterrupted viewing.
Yeah.
So why the sudden massive return to advertising?
It comes down to subscription fatigue, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
People are looking at their bank statements and realizing that subscribing to Netflix, Hulu, Max, Disney Plus, and Apple TV costs just as much, if not more, than their old cable bill.
Exactly. We are seeing a profound psychological shift in the consumer. What stands out to you about this shift?
Well, they've just reached their limit on monthly fees.
Right. The industry calls this a value exchange. Consumers are now actively saying, I will gladly give you a few minutes of my attention for an advertisement, as long as the content itself is free and high quality.
But there's a tightrope to walk here. The platforms can't just go back to the old cable model, right?
No, and that's the crucial caveat. The value exchange only holds up if the ad load remains light. Roku notes that currently, most streaming services are running between 4 to 8 minutes of ads per hour.
Which feels manageable.
It does. Compare that to traditional linear television, which regularly subjected viewers to 16 minutes, sometimes more, of commercials every single hour.
It was relentless.
As long as streaming platforms respect the viewer's time and keep the interruptions to that 4 to 8 minute window, the audience seems happy to make the trade.
But if they push it,
the moment greed sets in and they push it to 12 or 16 minutes, you will see a massive viewer revolt.
That makes total sense. Now, there's another trend from the Roku report regarding ads that I found incredibly revealing, not just about TV, but about the state of the broader internet.
Oh, regarding brand safety.
Yes. They predict that connected TV is going to become a safe space for advertisers.
A safe harbor in a very stormy digital sea.
Exactly. Because right now, generative AI is flooding search engines and social media platforms with what the industry calls AI slop.
Yeah, the slot.
You have these bizarre, low-effort synthetic videos dominating social feeds, and AI-generated articles cluttering search results. It's a massive headache for brands.
That's unpredictable.
Roku predicts that because of this unpredictability, up to 50% of streaming advertisers will actually pull their budgets away from search and social media
That's huge.
and pour those dollars into connected TV instead.
The underlying thread here is brand safety. Think about it from the perspective of a major advertiser, say a luxury car brand or a high-end cosmetics company.
Right.
They do not want their premium, expensive advertisement running on a social media feed right next to a bizarre, hallucinatory AI video of a politician eating spaghetti.
It completely devalues the brand.
Exactly. Connected TV is viewed as a high-attention, highly controlled environment.
Because it's still television.
Yes. When you buy an ad on Hulu or the Roku channel, you know exactly what kind of high production value, human-driven narrative your ad is going to sit next to.
Right.
It's fascinating that television, the oldest electronic screen in the house, is suddenly the most reliable, modern safe harbor because it still relies heavily on traditional quality control.
And the advertising on that living room screen is getting terrifyingly precise.
Oh, hyper-targeted.
Roku points out that the 2026 political midterm campaigns are heavily paving the way for hyperlocal CTV ads.
The political ad spend is always the testing ground for new targeting tech.
Right. Political campaigns are using AI to generate creative content on the fly, and then they are targeting voters down to the specific ZIP code on their smart TVs.
Down to the ZIP code.
And this hyperlocal targeting is expected to boost advertising effectiveness by 30%. Compared to traditional linear TV broadcasts.
So what does that actually look like for you, the average viewer?
It means that the ad breaks you see while watching a fast channel aren't going to be national commercials for car insurance. It's going to be an ad for the local hair salon 3 blocks from your house, or the specific law firm in your town, delivered with the exact same precision that a political campaign uses.
It means that television is no longer a broad broadcasting tool. It is a highly individualized communication device.
Yeah.
The ads on your 65-inch living room TV are going to be as personalized and hyper-targeted as the ads you see scrolling on your smartphone browser.
Which is a perfect segue, actually. We've talked about how the smartphone experience is blending with the living room TV, but it's not just the delivery mechanisms that are blending.
It's the stars themselves.
Exactly. The creator economy is colliding head-on with traditional television, and it is reshaping Hollywood.
The barrier between internet famous and actual famous has completely evaporated.
Totally. Let's look at the biggest news on this front. Alix Earle is getting her own unscripted reality series on Netflix.
This is a monumental shift in casting strategy for a major streamer.
It really is. For anyone who somehow missed her meteoric rise, Alix Earle built a massive global brand, essentially, from her college dorm room at the University of Miami.
Right.
She pioneered this highly authentic, somewhat chaotic style of get ready with me videos on TikTok.
Very casual.
She would just set up her phone and talk to her audience like they were her best friends while doing her makeup.
And now she's a powerhouse.
Now she has over 13 million combined followers. She was a runner-up on Dancing with the Stars season 34, and she's a staple on Rolling Stone's top creator list.
She built an empire on perceived intimacy.
Exactly. And now, Fullwell Entertainment, the production powerhouse behind massive shows like The Kardashians, is producing a Netflix series about her.
Wow.
It's going to feature her sister Ashton, her core friend group, and her modern family dynamics.
I'll bring everything.
Everything from her growing business empire to deeply personal moments, like her highly publicized breakup with NFL player Braxton Berrios, and even the adoption of her rescue dog.
What I find most compelling about this is Alix's own commentary on the transition.
Yeah, she was pretty candid.
She's been very open about the fact that she is actually quite scared to give up control of the camera.
Because on TikTok, you are your own director, editor, and producer.
Precisely. On social media, you have the ultimate power to curate your life. You can edit out the bad angles or the awkward pauses.
Right.
Handing that control over to a massive Netflix production crew is a huge vulnerability. But she explicitly stated that she wants the show to capture the real-time messiness of her life.
The uncurated moments.
She wants the uncurated moments, the emotional lows, not just the highlights.
It goes right back to that craving for raw authenticity we talked about. Netflix knows that Alix's audience follows her because she feels real.
Exactly.
If they overproduce the show and make it look like a glossy 2010s reality show, the audience will reject it instantly.
And from a business perspective, Traditional streaming giants are looking at this and realizing they don't need to rely solely on Hollywood talent agencies to build a star from scratch anymore.
It's a completely new pipeline.
They are actively leveraging the massive pre-established digital audiences of social media influencers. They are treating a 25-year-old with an iPhone like a full-blown production studio with a built-in, guaranteed distribution network.
It massively de-risks the investment for Netflix.
Absolutely.
You greenlight a show knowing you already have millions of guaranteed viewers on day one, and Alix Earle is just the tip of the iceberg. Look at Mr. Beast.
The scale of what he is doing is almost incomprehensible.
It really is. He is bringing Beast Games Season 2 to Prime Video.
Right.
This is the definition of a digital creator taking over traditional TV budgets. It's a massive gladiator-style survival show with 200 contestants.
200.
They are split into two tribes, the Mind Tribe and the Body Tribe, and they are competing for a $5 million cash prize.
The production values being reported are staggering.
Insane. We're talking about underwater mazes, 3 a.m. trivia relays on moving trains, massive cliff jumps. Critics are describing it as Lord of the Flies with protein bars and hidden microphones.
That's quite a visual.
Mr. Beast essentially took his highly successful YouTube formula, injected it with a massive Hollywood budget from Amazon, and the result dominated the global top 10 streaming list within hours of its release.
It proves that the aesthetics and pacing of YouTube can translate to the premium streaming environment if the budget is there.
Right.
Furthermore, we are seeing creators take over the fast channels we discussed earlier. Platforms like Tubi are launching Tubi for Creators programs, aggressively courting huge digital stars to bring their content libraries over to ad-supported streaming.
It's a win-win. The platforms get the built-in audience, and the creators get the prestige of being on the living room TV and a new revenue stream.
To really understand where this creator ecosystem is heading, though, we have to look at the ultimate incubator for this talent.
TikTok.
TikTok. Their 2026 cultural footprint is massive, and they released 2 reports that are essential reading. First is their Discover list.
Yes, the Discover list.
This list highlights the specific individuals who are actively shaping global conversations.
Right, they highlight 50 creators globally, breaking them down into specific categories of influence. You have the educators, like @Kango_book out of Tokyo.
His channel is fascinating.
He is literally reviving forgotten literary treasures and driving massive book sales purely through his sheer enthusiasm for reading on camera.
And then you have the innovators.
Like @Miss Darcy in Toronto. She uses incredible SFX makeup skills to drive massive conversations around inclusivity and representation in the beauty industry.
These aren't just people doing viral dances. They are cultural commentators with massive reach.
Exactly. And how that reach translates into actual consumer behavior is mapped out in TikTok's next 2026 Trend Forecast report.
This report is a goldmine.
It really is. They highlight 3 massive trend signals that are dictating how media is consumed right now. The first one is called RealiTEA, that's TEA.
This goes directly to the heart of our overarching theme.
It really does. RealiTEA is the concept that audiences are actively rejecting romanticized escapism. They don't want the perfect, aspirational lifestyle content anymore.
They want the mess.
They are embracing the chaos of daily life and seeking out raw, unpolished truth. And major corporate brands are actually catching on to this and mirroring the behavior.
The Oreo example.
Yes. The report cites how Oreo completely blended its brand identity with Reese's in a highly self-aware, chaotic TikTok post.
It wasn't a polished commercial.
No, it was messy and weird, and it became one of their top-performing pieces of content because it felt authentic to the platform.
The second trend signal is perhaps the most disruptive to traditional tech infrastructure. It's called curiosity detours.
This one blew my mind. People are increasingly using TikTok as a primary search engine.
But it's not a linear search like Google.
Exactly. You don't just type in a query and get a list of blue links. You start looking for one specific thing, and the algorithm takes you down a massive, visually engaging rabbit hole of unexpected discovery.
The report gives a brilliant example with Duracell.
Oh, the battery company.
The battery company was monitoring user search journeys and discovered they had a massive, highly passionate audience buried within the K-pop community.
Which seems entirely unrelated at first glance.
Completely unrelated. But it turns out K-pop fans rely heavily on Duracell batteries to power the glowing, interactive light sticks they wave at massive arena concerts.
Wow.
Duracell saw this detour, leaned heavily into this specific niche with targeted content, and it became a massive growth driver for them. They literally found a new customer base by following an algorithmic detour.
The third trend signal, emotional ROI return on investment, is equally fascinating because it changes how we think about purchasing.
Right, this indicates a major shift away from impulsive late-night buying toward highly intentional shopping.
Consumers in 2026 are looking for emotional validation before they spend a dime. They want to see a creator they trust validate a product's worth.
The days of the faceless corporate review are over.
Completely.
Yeah.
Audible masterfully utilized this concept by tapping into the BookTok community.
Smart move.
Instead of running traditional ads trying to act as the corporate authority on what books you should listen to, they just handed the microphone over to passionate, emotional readers on TikTok.
Let the community do the talking.
They let the community give the 5-star recommendations, and they achieved massive reach by prioritizing the emotional connection the creator had with the audience.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We talk about these massive macro trends, but how does a viral moment actually anatomically form on these platforms?
Oh.
Because it is rarely logical.
Oh, it is almost never logical.
No.
Let's look at a real-world example. The party at the beach down in Copacabana trend. This is a masterclass in internet absurdity.
It really is.
The audio for this trend is a mashup created by a user named DJ KLIPZ. He took Janelle Monáe's 2015 song Yoga, which is this great, empowering track about bodily autonomy, and he inexplicably stitched it together with the chaotic folk dance nightmare that is Cotton Eye Joe.
An absolute auditory fever dream.
It is so bizarre, but it completely took over the internet. Millions of people are participating.
Doing what?
Some people are doing highly complex choreographed dances to it. Others are just sitting in the driver's seat of their cars, looking exhausted, vibing to the beat.
Yeah.
And a whole other subset of videos are just people expressing profound, genuine confusion about what the Copacabana even is. It is a completely organic, nonsensical cultural moment.
Take a step back and look at what this means for macro behavior. A completely absurd mashup song created by a random user in their bedroom can dictate the visual aesthetic of millions of videos across the globe for a solid month.
It's wild.
A creator casually mentioning a battery brand can shift the marketing strategy of a multinational corporation. The cultural center of gravity has definitively shifted from the top-down corporate boardroom to the bottom-up, user-driven algorithm.
And when you are constantly exposed to this kind of unpredictable, algorithmically curated micro-content all day on your phone, it fundamentally changes what you demand from your long-form entertainment when you sit down in the living room.
Yes, it changes your expectations.
Which leads us perfectly into the third area of our deep dive, the extremes of reality television.
Because the reality genre is where this tension between authenticity and artificiality is playing out most aggressively.
Exactly. Let's start with the craving for awkward authenticity. Because we live in this highly curated, filtered digital world, viewers are showing a desperate thirst for shows that are messy, unpolished, and emotionally raw.
International formats are really leading the charge here.
The perfect example is the massive hit My Korean Boyfriend on Netflix.
It completely subverts the traditional dating show format.
It really does. It's a docu-reality series where 5 Brazilian women literally fly across the globe to Seoul to meet the Korean men they have been exclusively dating virtually for months.
But it's not glamorous.
No. It intentionally strips away all the glossy, aspirational K-drama fantasy that usually surrounds these cross-cultural narratives.
There are no perfectly lit, slow-motion romantic strolls through cherry blossoms.
None of that. Instead, you get agonizingly fumbled, painful language translations using translator apps.
Real communication barriers.
You get quiet, hyper-realistic, devastatingly awkward breakups sitting in fluorescent-lit convenience stores over bowls of spicy ramen.
It's raw.
It is incredibly intimate, and honestly, sometimes it is very hard to watch because it feels so real.
It is the anti-curation movement applied to television. Viewers want to see the cracks in the facade. They want to see the friction.
Right.
You see the exact same psychological driver behind another major hit, Better Late Than Single Season 2.
Oh, that show is so tender.
It is a Korean docuseries that follows adults in their 30s who have literally never dated before. They are navigating their very first romantic interactions.
The stakes feel so high for them.
Exactly. You are watching people navigate their first awkward handholds or their first clumsy compliments. There is no manufactured villa drama, no screaming matches over cocktails.
Just real awkwardness.
In a world where everyone presents a perfect, confident avatar of themselves online, viewers are desperate for real, emotional stakes. They want palpable, agonizing awkwardness, because that awkwardness is the ultimate proof of truth.
But the pursuit of this truth can lead producers into incredibly murky territory, which brings us to the controversy and the ethics of reality TV.
We need to look closely at the intense backlash surrounding Disney Plus's new series, Battle of Fates.
And to be clear, we are just relaying the facts of the public discourse here impartially.
Right, we aren't taking sides.
But the conversation surrounding this show is vital to understanding the genre.
The premise of the show itself is highly provocative.
It is. Battle of Fates pits 49 Korean shamans, tarot readers, fate interpreters, and physiognomists against each other in a massive survival competition.
49 spiritualists.
The goal is to prove whose spiritual insights and fortune-telling methods are the most accurate. But almost immediately, the show was hit with major scripting accusations.
The illusion of reality was punctured very quickly.
Yes, an anonymous post went viral on the workplace community app Blind. The poster claimed to be someone who had drinks with a writer on the show. The post alleged that while all 49 participants submit guesses during the challenges, the producers selectively edit the final broadcast, so only the 4 closest guesses are ever shown on screen.
It artificially makes the spiritualists look incredibly accurate.
Which is standard reality TV editing to a degree. You condense for time.
Right, but the post went further.
It claimed that the celebrity panelists react strongly and give subtle verbal and facial hints to the contestants when they are off track.
So they're feeding them clues.
Exactly. This allows the so-called psychics to refine and correct their answers in real time, a detail that is entirely omitted from the final edit to maintain the illusion of infallible spiritual intuition.
This raises an important question regarding the authenticity of the reality we are being sold. Are we watching a genuine test of spiritual ability? Or are we watching a highly edited, heavily guided highlight reel designed solely to entertain? But the controversy with this specific show goes much deeper than just deceptive editing tricks. It touches on profound ethical boundaries.
It does. In episode 2 of Battle of Fates, the producers set a mission where the contestants had to use their fortune-telling methods to guess the specific cause of death of real deceased individuals using only their photographs and birth dates.
That's intense.
The ethical backlash exploded because one of the cases featured was a real-life public servant, senior firefighter Kim Cheol-hong, who tragically died in the line of duty during the 2001 Hongjae-dong fire in Seoul.
Using a real documented tragedy as a game show puzzle piece.
Exactly. Viewers and critics were outraged. The public discourse argued that gamifying a real human tragedy for streaming entertainment crossed a massive ethical line.
How did the producers respond?
The production team was forced to issue a formal public apology. They stated that they had obtained written consent from one specific family member to use his image and story. However, it quickly came to light that other close relatives and acquaintances were entirely unaware that their loved one's tragic death was being broadcast on a Disney Plus competition show.
It perfectly highlights the dangerous edge of reality television. The relentless pursuit of real, raw, emotional stakes led the producers to commodify genuine human suffering.
It's a tough line.
When the audience demands real, how far will producers go to provide it?
It's a dark question, and remarkably, as we debate the ethics of exploiting human reality, a completely new frontier has opened up in 2026 that bypasses human beings entirely.
This is where the tension between authenticity and artificiality reaches its absolute peak.
Yes. Let's talk about the terrifying new AI frontier and a show called Non-Player Combat.
Oh, this show.
This is a 4-part series that dropped on YouTube, created by Tom Patton, the CEO of Animation Studios. It is being billed as the world's first fully AI-generated competitive reality show.
Every single frame.
Every single frame of video, every character, every blade of grass in the environment is entirely synthesized by artificial intelligence.
The scale of this simulation is what makes it so groundbreaking.
The premise is wild. 6 fictional AI contestants are dropped onto a remote dystopian island divided into hostile environmental zones.
And these are digital avatars.
Incredibly detailed digital avatars. You have Travis Drake, who is programmed as a retired Navy SEAL. You have Micah Gray, a wilderness coach, and Eliza Cole, an ex-con.
And they're competing.
They're competing to survive polar bear attacks, deadly venomous snakes, and physical combat with each other, all to win a fictional prize of 500,000 coins.
What makes this deeply unsettling is the production methodology. The outcomes are entirely unscripted.
Wait, how can a show be unscripted if it's made by a computer? Doesn't someone have to write the code for what happens?
That is the crucial distinction. The production team does not plan the plot or write a script.
So what do?
Instead, they feed the AI generators hundreds of pages of deep psychological character backstories for each contestant. They program their childhood traumas, their moral philosophies, their past crimes, their physical strengths.
Wow.
Then, they drop these digital entities into the simulated environment and let the AI autonomously make decisions based on those psychological profiles.
That's crazy.
The events that unfold on screen are essentially raw simulations of how these algorithms interact under stress.
So the computer is just running a simulation and rendering it as video.
Exactly. Tom Patton argues a very controversial point here.
It is.
He says that because these AI entities aren't aware of a camera, they aren't performing for an audience like a human reality star does to get screen time, they actually feel more genuine in their reactions.
He really thinks that.
He firmly believes that audiences ultimately will not care that the entire thing is fake, as long as they're entertained by the drama.
And the results of this autonomous simulation are incredibly brutal. In the first episode, the AI generates an unprompted sequence where one of the contestants is bitten by a venomous snake.
A completely generated scenario.
The viewer watches this completely digital creation suffer in agony for hours in the simulation, eventually projectile vomiting digital blood until it dies. In another scene, the highly trained AI Navy SEAL sniper takes a shot at the scrawny ex-con character and misses. It's violent, it's unpredictable, and it's completely generated by the machine's logic, not a writer's room.
The implications of this for the broader entertainment industry are massive.
That's a huge flashpoint.
This show is a major flashpoint in the ongoing debate tearing through Hollywood regarding artificial intelligence. We already saw the intense public blowback against the fully AI-generated actress Tilly Norwood.
Right.
We are seeing major legacy studios like Disney signing billion-dollar deals with OpenAI to utilize their proprietary characters in AI environments.
It forces us to ask what reality television even means anymore.
Precisely. What does it mean for the future of the genre if the reality is completely simulated?
We are watching algorithms experience digital trauma.
And inflict digital violence upon one another.
Yeah.
If the audience accepts this as valid entertainment, the entire economic and ethical model of unscripted television is upended.
Why hire real people?
Exactly. Why would a studio hire unpredictable, expensive human beings who come with union rules, physical limitations, and ethical boundaries when you can generate infinite, perfectly tailored, high-stakes drama on a server for a fraction of the cost?
It is a profound and slightly terrifying shift. But despite the looming shadow of generative AI, the legacy reality TV juggernauts featuring actual, messy, unpredictable human beings are still dominating the cultural conversation in 2026.
People still want to watch real people make real mistakes.
Exactly. So let's move into the final area of our deep dive and look at the massive legacy shows of 2026. We have to start with the absolute royalty of the genre, Love is Blind Season 10.
The producers made a highly strategic casting choice this season.
They really did. They decided to cast an all-Ohio group of singles.
Brilliant.
And the internet absolutely lost its mind with the only in Ohio memes. The season was an absolute train wreck in the best possible way.
So messy.
Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't finished the binge.
Yeah.
Not a single couple actually made it to saying I do at the altar.
A complete 0% success rate.
Yeah. The Ohio casting choice was fascinating from a sociological perspective.
Right, because Ohio occupies this very strained, specific space in modern internet culture.
Yeah, how so?
It's often memed as the uncanny valley of America, a place where surreal, glitch in the matrix, bizarrely mundane things happen.
Yeah.
And the show leaned into that mundane absurdity beautifully.
It provided some incredibly memorable, hyper-specific cultural moments that you could never script.
Never.
Oh, the specifics are what make it so brilliant. You have Connor, who earnestly, without a single shred of irony, declares to his pod date, Brianna.
Who happens to be a University of Michigan alum, adding another layer of regional tension.
Right. So he declares to her that his favorite song of all time, the song that defines his soul, is The Killer's Mr. Brightside.
It was such a hyper-specific millennial Midwestern moment.
It was perfect. And then you had Steven, who completely botched what should have been a very vulnerable conversation.
Oh, Steven.
Emma was opening up to him about her deep childhood scars and being bullied. And Steven's response, trying to be empathetic, was to awkwardly label her a late bloomer.
Which is bad enough.
He then proceeded to completely derail the conversation to describe his own loss of virginity as notebook-esque, completely lacking any self-awareness of how inappropriate the pivot was.
It was excruciating to listen to.
But interspersed with the cringe, we also saw some incredible masterclasses in communication. Kia's arc was phenomenal.
Kia was the hero of the season. She delivered what can only be described as a surgical dismantling of Kevon's confidence.
Caven had been stringing her along for days until his other option, Taylor Earle, voluntarily left the show.
Right. And when Kia finally confronted him in the pods, she didn't yell.
No, she kept her cool.
She calmly, respectfully, and brutally informed this man in his 30s that he was nowhere near ready for marriage, that he lacked emotional intelligence, and that he needed to get his life together before dating anyone.
It was so remarkably effective and articulate that Kevon actually thanked her after she broke his heart.
An incredible display of setting boundaries on national television.
And then, of course, you have the couples who made it out of the pods but completely fell apart when faced with the real world.
The physical reveals are always where the trouble starts.
Always. Alex H. felt the burning need, under the guise of total honesty, to pull his fiancée Ashley aside and inform her that she actually isn't his usual physical type.
He just had to say it.
He prefers darker features, and she is blonde. He just had to let her know that she wasn't his ideal aesthetic, completely undermining the relationship from day one.
And then there is the spectacular failure of Devo and Brittany.
Oh, Devo. Brittany is trying her hardest to initiate emotional and physical intimacy during the romantic getaway.
Right.
And Devo looks at her and tells her, with straight-faced, deadpan Midwestern pragmatism, that he would honestly just rather sit outside on the balcony alone, read a book, and watch the sunrise than stay in bed and talk about his feelings with her.
It perfectly illustrates why human reality television remains so compelling and why the AI shows have a long way to go.
Yeah.
You cannot program an algorithm to replicate the exact, agonizing, mundane awkwardness of a man telling his fiancée he'd rather read a paperback than look at her. That requires real, flawed, illogical human psychology.
Speaking of flawed human psychology, that brings us to the other massive pillar of legacy reality TV, The Bachelorette Season 22. This season is a massive cross-platform event because the new lead is Taylor Frankie Paul.
This is a brilliant piece of synergy by the network.
It is so smart. Taylor's best known from the Hulu reality series The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
A huge show.
For those who aren't deeply embedded in TikTok drama, she was the absolute epicenter of the viral MomTok soft-swinging scandal that completely rocked the Salt Lake City influencer community a few years ago.
To provide some context on the term, soft swinging in this specific community referred to couples who would swap partners for making out and heavy petting, but maintained a boundary against full intercourse.
Right.
It was a massive scandal that shattered the pristine, traditional image these influencers were projecting.
Exactly. And Taylor took the brunt of the public fallout. Now she is the Bachelorette. She has 2 kids, Indy and Ocean from her previous marriage, and a 1-year-old named Ever with her recent ex-boyfriend, Dakota Mortensen.
And the meta-narrative surrounding the show, the real-time internet gossip, is almost as entertaining as the casting itself.
The broadcast is only half the show now. The social media reaction is the other half.
Yes. Taylor went on the Call Her Daddy podcast and casually revealed she hadn't even warned Dakota she was going to be the Bachelorette before the news broke.
Which is wild.
Dakota immediately took to TikTok, using the exact same viral Lindsay Lohan audio clip that Taylor had used to audition for the role, and posted a video jokingly asking, "Is this how it works to be the next Bachelor?"
He clarified in the caption he was joking and happy for her, but it highlights how reality TV stars now use social media to litigate their personal lives in real time alongside the broadcast.
And her family is getting in on the hype cycle too. Taylor's sister, Aspen May, posted TikToks showing Taylor absolutely glowing post-filming, heavily hinting to the audience that she found a successful match before the show even airs.
The season premieres on March 22, 2026, and ABC released the bios for the cast of 22 Bachelors. It is a wild mix of personalities.
The casting is key.
You have guys like Kevin Montero. He is a 32-year-old physical therapist from Miami. His official ABC bio literally states that his life's dream is to swim with hammerhead sharks, and that his favorite activity is to cry while listening to the song Crash by the Dave Matthews Band.
That is an incredibly specific energy to bring to a mansion full of competitive men.
It's hilarious, but it's the perfect reality TV casting archetype. They find people with these highly specific, slightly bizarre quirks designed to either completely charm the audience or make them cringe uncontrollably.
And ABC is banking heavily on Taylor's massive pre-established audience from Hulu and TikTok tuning in to see how she navigates this entirely different, highly formatted environment.
But dating and survival shows aren't the only things filling the 2026 calendar. If we look at the broader programming slate, the sheer variety of formats being greenlit is staggering.
Let's break some of these down because there are some wild concepts here. Netflix is doing a massive reboot of Star Search.
Star Search is back?
But they are entirely modernizing the delivery. It's not just a taped talent show anymore.
Right. It's being billed as a live, interactive, 5-week cultural event hosted by Anthony Anderson. And the judging panel is this chaotic, eclectic mix. You have Sarah Michelle Gellar, the country rap star Jelly Roll, and Chrissy Teigen.
But the real hook is the interactive element we talked about earlier.
Live voting.
The audience gets to vote live on the app in real time. They are actively trying to recreate the massive communal water cooler cultural events of the early 2000s, but powered by mobile tech.
They're trying to manufacture a monoculture moment in a highly fragmented media landscape.
What else stands out on the slate?
There's a show called The Golden Ticket, which looks incredible. It's essentially a Willy Wonka-inspired survival and puzzle show.
Sounds fun.
The set design is this massive, retro-futuristic candy maze, and contestants have to navigate physical challenges and solve logic puzzles. It feels like a massive pivot toward high-concept, highly stylized reality game shows.
And then you have concepts swinging entirely in the opposite direction toward forced deprivation.
Yes, like Love Unplugged. This is a fascinating sociological experiment disguised as a dating show.
The no-tech show.
They take a group of hyper-connected millennials and Gen Z singles, and they entirely remove their technology. No smartphones, no tablets, no internet access whatsoever.
Complete blackout.
They are forced to make genuine face-to-face connections without the crutch of a screen or the ability to look someone up online.
The psychology of Love Unplugged is so revealing.
How so?
We are so overstimulated by the algorithms and the micro moments that the ultimate novelty, the most extreme premise for a reality show, is simply forcing people to sit in a room and talk to each other without looking at a phone.
The absence of technology is the gimmick.
It really highlights how dependent we've become.
Rounding out the slate, we've got some heavy hitters returning. We have Makeover Masters, which is dominating the transformation space.
Always a classic format.
There's a highly anticipated Valentine's Day special of Is It Cake, hosted by Mikey Day, featuring this great lineup of guest judges, including Casey Wilson, David Caspi, Ashley Simpson, and Evan Ross.
A very specific slice of millennial pop culture nostalgia.
Definitely. We are also getting the final guaranteed tear-jerking season of Queer Eye, which is set in Washington, D.C. this time around. And, of course, the return of the ultimate game of psychological deception, The Traitors Series 3.
The casting for The Traitors always dictates the tone of the season.
And this season looks intense. The teasers are already showing massive drama. They cast a woman named Francesca who spent 12 years serving in the British Army.
Oh, wow.
She is bringing military-grade strategic thinking into this castle. The previews show her navigating this intense psychological warfare, complete with secret nighttime murders and literally burning shields in the courtyard. It is high-camp, high-stakes deception.
So, when we look at this entire massive landscape, from the vertical micro shows on our phones, to the invisible AI curating our living rooms, to digital influencers taking over Hollywood studios, all the way to AI avatars fighting polar bears, and a Mormon influencer handing out roses on ABC, how do we synthesize all of this? What is the unifying theory?
It's a brilliant question. Take a step back and look at the underlying thread here. Whether we are talking about the hyper-local ZIP code level targeting of connected TV political advertisements, or the raw, unpolished emotion of Brazilian women navigating language barriers over ramen and soul, or the algorithmic blood-soaked combat of AI avatars in a simulated wilderness. The entertainment landscape of 2026 is entirely defined by that massive paradox we established at the beginning.
Detention.
Yes, we are currently utilizing the most advanced, sophisticated artificial technology in the history of human civilization. We are deploying massive behavioral algorithms, global mobile data networks, and generative AI.
And we are using all of it to try and capture, or in some cases entirely manufacture, the most authentic, messy, deeply relatable human experiences possible.
We want the technology to be entirely invisible.
And we want the emotion to be visceral. We are building these incredibly complex machines just to feel something real. The platforms and the creators that are succeeding right now are the ones that manage to balance that impossible tension, using artificial means to deliver undeniable human truth.
Understanding the why behind the what is the absolute key to media literacy in this era.
I couldn't agree more.
And that brings us to the end of our journey today. I want to sincerely thank you, the listener, for joining us on this deep dive. Our goal is always to make you a savvier consumer of the content that is constantly fighting for your attention.
Because knowledge is power in this space.
When you understand the mechanisms behind the screen, how the algorithms detour your attention, why certain casting strategies work, the ethical lines being pushed by production companies, you can navigate this chaotic media landscape with so much more clarity and intention.
You're no longer just a passive viewer taking what is given to you.
You are an informed participant in the culture.
Before we sign off, I want to leave you with a final, perhaps provocative thought to mull over on your own.
Let's hear it.
We talked a lot today about AI generating reality TV and algorithms predicting what we want to watch. But as generative AI becomes sophisticated enough to perfectly simulate human flaws, awkward pauses, and emotional breakdowns, like we saw glimpses of in non-player combat, will there come a day when we actually prefer the algorithm's version of reality over our own?
Oh, wow.
If an AI can generate the perfect messy reality show villain or the ultimate tear-jerking romance on demand, will human reality TV stars become obsolete?
That is an incredibly sharp and slightly terrifying thought to end on. Thank you so much for exploring this massive landscape with us. We will catch you on the next deep dive.